So all I've seen over the past couple of days are people on social media and even people in my own comments section saying not to listen to the critics and that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is a fun watch. And basically saying that anyone who didn't like it doesn't know how to have fun. Many people have brought up to me how this movie has high audience scores as opposed to the critic scores, and using that as justification as to why people like myself are wrong about this movie. You should all know by now that I'll be the first one to tell you that you shouldn't listen to shill critics. But we need to realize the difference between making your criticisms about everything except the film itself, which is what a shill does, and critics who are being rightfully critical of a not well-made movie. It doesn't happen very often, but I have to say, in this instance, I feel like the critics are right. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So Ghostbusters Frozen Empire accumulated a decent $45 million box office opening, which just so happens to be about $1 million more than its predecessor Afterlife. Analysts are saying that it will still need to have decent legs in order to be considered a major success, as the film cost around $100 million to produce. You do have to take into consideration the dreaded second week drop at the box office that almost every single film that is released in the modern era experiences. Unless this particular film holds strong somehow, it's going to be hard for the studio to justify continuing this franchise. And if we are looking at things objectively, there's not a whole lot of evidence to suggest that they should. I get it, everyone thinks that if you didn't give this film glowing reviews, that makes you a hater or a grifter. But no, what it actually proves is that some people are being a bit more realistic about what they are seeing. Why anyone would think that I went into this film wanting to hate it is beyond me. But I think that's just a lot of projecting. I know there was a lot of people who went to see this film and desperately wanted to like it because Ghostbusters was in the title. And they might have even convinced themselves and others that they did like it. And you know what? I don't judge those people. That's what you call a fan. And yes, they are allowed to be a fan. The problem is that those fans can't expect everyone to approach movies in the same way that they do, especially people whose job it is to be critical. Some of us don't have an interest in praising all the movies that come out just so people like us.
Whatever it is that you're offering, we're not into it. Don't care, couldn't care less.
Some of us are looking for a little bit more out of our cinematic experiences. And some people may respond to that and say, well, you're cheating yourself because you aren't allowing yourself to have fun. Do you know what's fun to me? Watching a competently made film that doesn't rely on gimmicks. Why is it that we've got to a point in entertainment where fun and quality cannot coexist with each other? I don't need every movie I watch to be a cinematic masterpiece to enjoy it, contrary to what some people think. I actually have a whole rating tier in my rating system that is dedicated to films that are flawed, but that I still find enjoyment in. And even so, I couldn't find it in my heart to give Ghostbusters Frozen Empire that rating. And that's because based on my criteria and what I'm looking for in a film, it does not deserve that rating. Frozen Empire is not a competently made film in any way. And I'm not going to allow the people who are making it to distract me from that with nostalgia.
Not up in here!
Not up in here!
Do you know how many people told me this week that I need to let it go? That this is the Ghostbusters for a new generation? Really, is that why they sold this movie, again, like they did with Afterlife, by using legacy characters? If they aren't trying to entice old fans to watch this movie, then why are they using Peter Venkman and Ray Stantz at all? They certainly didn't do anything with those characters that was interesting, that justified them being there from a story perspective. And again, if the focus is supposed to be on the new cast of characters, then why did they add so many supporting characters that added absolutely nothing to the movie other than more cringe? Why were the main four new Ghostbusters so underdeveloped as characters? In fact, I don't even think we can call them characters based on what we got. But I'm being unrealistic, right? I need to let go of the past. No, Hollywood needs to let go of the past and stop trying to lazily take old properties and turn them into modern franchises.
It's true.
I saw a tweet that summed up my thoughts on this perfectly. This person said, quote, Ghostbusters is the Jurassic Park of comedy. A perfect one-and-done movie that the studio keeps trying and failing to recapture for decades. Now, I know some of you enjoy Ghostbusters too, and I get it, I do to an extent as well. I also enjoy some of the later Jurassic sequels. But the general message behind this tweet is 100% spot on. They are literally desperately trying to recapture the magic of something from the past that probably would have been better off just being one film. And yes, this has been going on for decades. I also had a lot of people tell me, well, at least it was better than the 2016 Ghostbusters. Well, there's a real f***ing accomplishment. Is that what we're going to hang our hats on now? At least it's better than the female-led remake that absolutely nobody asked for. The bar is really low. You are literally letting the studio off the hook for doing just enough to be better than a pile of garbage.
Not impressed.
Standards are at an all-time low, and especially when it comes to franchises that have been around for a while. So is it too far outside the realm of possibility to suggest that this franchise wasn't meant to exist in 2024? If the goal is to attract new fans with the new cast, then where are these new fans? You should have had them hooked after Afterlife, and they should have came out in droves to support Frozen Empire. Yet this film only outgrossed the previous film by around $1 million. And here's the kicker, most of the people who are getting upset about my opinion and who are defending this film are old school Ghostbusters fans. I haven't seen a lot of accounts with Finn Wolfhard profile pictures sending me death threats over my opinions. Where are they? Do you know how movies like Frozen Empire come into existence? It happens when fans get complacent.
You're really talking about just raising your standards.
I have people commenting on my review right now and saying that, well, at least we have Ghostbusters sequels. How are you going to complain after years of asking for new movies? First of all, I never asked for a Ghostbusters sequel because I didn't really think it was necessary. And second of all, being satisfied that we have a Ghostbuster movie in any capacity, regardless of quality, is a surefire way to kill interest in a franchise that already has very little. And don't give me audience scores either, because we have numerous examples of those scores being manipulated by faulty systems. Everyone always bitch moans and complains about review bombing, but yet they never bring up review boosting, which we have a lot of evidence of that happening as well. But I guess we're just going to ignore that for the sake of calling out haters, right?
Something very familiar about all this.
Listen, if you enjoyed Frozen Empire, it's great. I'm happy for you. We can agree to disagree. I'm fine with that. But don't come at me throwing out labels and questioning my credibility as a critic simply because you are insecure and you don't agree with my assessment. Fans are fine. It's the people who bend over backwards to defend garbage that are a real burden on film discussion. Whatever happened to saying, well, I know this movie wasn't perfect, but I still enjoyed it? You see, I would buy that. That's a perfectly reasonable response. But don't tell me that I'm being a hater when it's you who refuses to raise your standards and demand better. It's those people who are the reason why Hollywood consistently gives us the bare minimum. Because they are more than happy to take whatever they are given and not question anything. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be talked down to by people who choose to live their lives so blissfully ignorant. I want what's best for the Ghostbusters as a brand. And another sequel that does just enough is not what I have in mind when I think about preserving these franchises that we love.
Y'all be cool. Nah.